Okay, so we've got this YouTube transcript you sent over. It's from the Ring of Fire, and it really digs into a recent comment Donald Trump made about prescription drug prices. And our plan for this deep dive is, well, to really get into what Trump announced, look at the potential impact, but specifically using the analysis from this video as our guide.
Sounds good. We need to understand their take on it.
Exactly. So we'll cover what Trump actually said, how the video frames, the whole U.S. drug price situation now.
The potential fallout from these tariffs you mentioned.
Right, the tariffs, and then sort of the video's final verdict on whether this whole idea is workable or even advisable, according to them. Okay, let's get started.
Well, the video jumps right in, doesn't it? It talks about Trump speaking to the National Republican Congressional Caucus, and it highlights his stated plan to actually raise prescription drug prices for Americans.
Wait, raise them?
By putting tariffs on imported drugs. That's the mechanism the video points to. So, yeah, they frame it up front as a deliberate move to increase costs via these tariffs.
That just sounds odd, doesn't it? Especially when you hear what the video says next about where we already are with drug prices.
It does seem counterintuitive.
Their point is pretty blunt. Americans pay more, way more, than anyone else globally for prescriptions.
Yeah, they use that phrase, thousands of percentage points higher here than elsewhere. That's quite a claim.
It really is. You have to wonder what's behind that, even if the video doesn't spell out all the reasons.
That's a whole other deep dive, probably. But you could guess, our specific healthcare setup, maybe insurers, PBMs, patent stuff. It's complex.
Sure.
But the video uses that international comparison mainly to set the stage, showing how high prices already are.
And they make it clear this isn't some new issue, right? They call high drug costs a flashpoint.
A long-standing one, yeah. For politicians, for the public, it's a constant source of concern.
And they bring up Biden trying to lower costs and then immediately mention Trump removing the $35 insulin cap, which the video frames as, well, doing the opposite.
Exactly. It sets up this contrast, highlighting the back and forth on drug affordability. It gives context for Trump's new proposal landing in this already pretty contentious space.
Okay, so let's get to Trump's reasoning, at least as the video presents it. Why the tariffs?
The stated goal, according to the video, is to push pharmaceutical companies, to incentivize them, really, to bring production here to the U.S.
Ah, okay. So the thinking is if they make the drugs here, maybe prices drop. Or maybe it's about jobs.
That seems to be the underlying idea. But this is where the video really pushes back hard.
How so?
It argues pretty strongly, actually, that these companies they're not likely to move production here just because of tariffs.
Why not?
The main reason cited is that a lot of the big pharma players, they're based in Europe.
Oh, right. Not U.S. companies to begin with, many of them.
Exactly. They have their headquarters, their factories, their whole setup over there. The video even mentions Mike Papantonio doing depositions with European pharma CEOs to sort of prove they're well-established internationally.
So having headquarters overseas means what? It's just too much hassle to move everything.
It suggests they've got, huge investments in infrastructure, supply chains already running smoothly outside the U.S. Moving all of that would be massively disruptive, expensive, maybe more so than just dealing with the tariffs.
So the tariff lever might not be strong enough to make them actually relocate.
That's the video's argument. And they take it another step, questioning the jobs aspect, too.
How do they do that?
They use this analogy, comparing drug manufacturing to making cookies.
Cookies?
Yeah, like highly automated food production. The point being, it doesn't actually take that many workers on the factory floor. It's mostly machines.
Ah, I see. So it's not like building cars in the 1950s.
Precisely. It challenges that whole picture of bringing back tons of blue-collar manufacturing jobs through pharma production. If it's automated, the job impact might be, pretty small.
So the video is basically saying Trump's idea of a pharma manufacturing boom creating lots of jobs might not match how these factories actually operate today.
That's the core of their counter-argument. They're saying, one, the companies probably won't move because they're based elsewhere, and two, even if they did, the job creation might be minimal because of automation.
Okay, so if the companies don't move and the jobs don't materialize, who ends up paying for these tariffs, according to the video?
Well, the analysis lands pretty squarely on American consumers.
Us.
Yeah. The argument is straightforward. If importing the drugs costs more because of tariffs, that extra cost just gets passed along. We pay more at the pharmacy.
Which brings us back to the start raising prices, not lowering them.
Exactly. And what's really interesting is what the video thinks happens to the drug companies in this scenario.
Okay, what's their take?
They suggest the companies might actually be fine, not really hurt much by this.
How could that be? If their import costs go up.
Because of something called inelastic demand, especially for, life-saving or essential medicines.
Inelastic demand, meaning people have to buy it no matter the cost.
Pretty much, yeah. Within reason, obviously. But if you need a specific drug to live or function, you'll find a way to pay for it, even if the price goes up a bit. Demand doesn't just crater because the price ticks up.
So the companies could just bake the tariff cost into the price, and sales won't drop too much.
That's the argument the video makes. They can pass the cost on without losing significant volume.
Wow. So based on this analysis, the policy might intend to help consumers. Maybe workers could actually end up worse off.
That's the picture the video paints, yes. And they're not shy about their opinion of the whole thing.
No, they use some strong words. Stupid idea, delusional president. Pretty direct criticism.
Very direct. The whole tone is highly critical. And that suggestion near the end, that a European drug company should give Trump a factory tour.
Yeah.
That really sums up their view. It implies there's a fundamental lack of understanding about how this global industry actually works. It's almost sarcastic, highlighting this gap they see between the policy idea and the reality on the ground.
Okay, so let's try and pull this together. The transcript highlights this core tension. Trump saying tariffs on imported drugs will somehow ultimately help, maybe by encouraging domestic production.
Right. That's the stated aim presented.
But the video's analysis completely rejects that. It argues the big companies won't move from Europe, automation limits job gains, and the tariffs will just mean higher prices paid by American consumers.
That's a good summary of the conflict presented. This deep dive into the Ring of Fire piece definitely gives us one critical perspective on these proposed tariffs. It suggests the strategy is flawed and could backfire on consumers.
It really makes you think about the sheer complexity of it all. Global supply chains, drug pricing factors. It's clearly not simple.
Not at all. And that brings us to the final thought, really. If this analysis is correct, and tariffs aren't the answer here, maybe even make things worse, what other approaches could actually work? How do we effectively tackle these persistently high drug costs in the U.S.?
That's the big question, isn't it? This analysis certainly throws cold water on one proposed solution. It leaves you wondering what viable alternatives are really on the table.
Definitely food for thought. This look at the source material offers a very focused critique, prompting us to consider all the angles.